Known online as the Nostalgia Chick, Lindsay Ellis was born on November 24, 1984, and was one of the video producers on thatguywiththeglasses.com, now known as Channel Awesome. Lindsay officially joined the site in 2008 after winning the site's Nostalgia Chick competition, a competition that was designed to bring on a female counterpart for Doug Walker, the nostalgia critic.
I gotta tell you, I get email after email of people asking me to review shows like She-Ra or My Little Pony and so on and so forth. And trust me, I'd love to, but there's just one tiny little problem. I have testicles.
Mars Girl and That Chick with the Goggles, who also competed in the Nostalgia Chick competition, had been tied with Lindsay to win, and would end up also joining the site later.
Lindsay Ellis started out as essentially a female version of Doug Walker. She would review the usual assortment of nostalgia bait, good and bad movies, but would then throw in a slew of teen dramas and Disney films into the mix, with her catchphrase being,
"Hi, I'm your nostalgia chick. I remember it because the dudes don't."
Stylistically, Lindsay's reviews centered around, well, you guessed it by now, chronologically retelling the films and throwing in some jokes.
In animation development, we've got the two big animation houses, who take two different approaches. With Warner Brothers, pretty much all of the characters are dudes, excepting Tweety's granny and Pepe Le Pew's sexual assault poster child.
You know, one of the mysteries of my life is why a woman run away when all she really wishes is to be captured.
Although this changed in the mid-90s with the Warner Brothers characters. Oh, the token chickism.
In 2010, Lindsay released The A Word, a short documentary about her own abortion. This was a film project that was not associated with her persona as the nostalgia chick on thatguywiththeglasses.com. In an interview over on Geek Girl Authority, Lindsay detailed studying for a master's in film studies around the same time as starting her nostalgia chick show. So presumably, Lindsay worked on The A Word was a way to show off various film production skills she had gained throughout her studies. Conversely to her work as the nostalgia chick, The A World was a very much political piece, and politics is a theme that would crop up in both Lindsay's public persona and her video projects later on.
Like other members of That Guy with the Glasses, Lindsay would take part in collaboration and also cast friends alongside her in various reviews.
Nostalgia chick.
Douchey voice.
Hey!
Why do I keep being rendered unconscious by my many male nemesis?
We have ways of dealing with insubordinates who chloroform their employers. Then we get punished.
Like Brad the Cinema Snob would have his Team Snob, Lindsay would have Team N-Chick. One of the reviews put together by Team N-Chick was on Freddy Got Fingered, in which, famously, skits were put together in order to match the rampant vulgarity of the film.
Sausages, sausages.
While Lindsay had divided some fans right from the start due to being similar to the nostalgia critic, it wasn't until 2013, when she showed public support for feminist pop culture critic Anita Sarkeesian, that Lindsay really became a polarizing figure for the site's audience. This division would ramp up further in 2014 in the wake of Gamergate.
Gary and Zach are sacrificial lambs crucified on the altar of political correctness.
There'd be no game if Miss Punjabi hadn't banged the money man.
Stephen and I are getting married.
So you'd agree that the criticisms of your work are rooted in misogyny? Rena, doing okay?
2013 was also the year that Lindsay would start breaking away from thatguywiththeglasses.com with the launch of her site, Apocalypse. What is with these writers and their horrible name choices? The goal for the site was twofold. One was to move away from her persona as the nostalgia chick, and two was to move towards more serious film analysis and editorials. Both goals would eventually be realized. However, Apocalypse, again, did not fare too well on its own. This was in part due to the fact that, up to that point, so much of Lindsay's persona had been tied to That Guy with the Glasses, including their big film production like To Boldly Flee, which had been released late in the previous year. What also didn't help was the anti-Gamergate stance taken by members of Apocalypse, which would further divide fans of Lindsay's content from Channel Awesome.
Davis Aridi, Jordan Owen, John Bain, Phil Mason, Dean Esme, Paul Elam, Jason Polera, the denizens of 4chan, they already had an axe to grind. Gamergate is nothing more than the new name for a long-standing resistance to the increased visibility of minority voices in society at large.
In 2015, when Blip shut down, Shay Apocalypse was essentially done, and by that point the site had, according to Lindsay, been overdue for a redesign anyway. Site members continued with their own projects independent of the site, and Lindsay continued to move toward more traditional film editorial analyses, and would eventually leave Channel Awesome and drop the Nostalgia Chick character for good in 2015. Lindsay would also take on independent media work for sites like Al Jazeera and The Mary Sue, the latter of which included an article titled Don't Read the Comments and Taxes, which continue to highlight the backlash she'd been receiving for her divisive political opinions.
In a more recent video from former That Guy with the Glasses contributor Count Jacula, it was detailed just how deep the political divide went between producers on the site. Jacula retold stories of in-and-out groups forming between producers based on not just on politics, but on rumors and perceptions of wrongdoing.
Lindsay very obviously did not like me. Long after she left the site, a member of her group confided in me that they had had a meeting about me in which it was decided I shouldn't be allowed in. And when I asked them why, they said, well, you know, you seem kind of red-pilly. You know, kind of alt-righty, red-pilly, you know, a little conservative. And I'm like, what? What gave you that idea? You know, and they didn't have anything.
Lindsay continued working on video essays, and in one of her series titled Loose Cannon, she would deeper explore facets of the film industry, such as what caused the move toward nominating more populist films for the Oscars.
Right. Big, long think pieces about how irrelevant the Oscars are and how much we don't care about the Oscars. So, why don't we care about the Oscars? The general consensus is that it's because the Oscars are less concerned with actual quality or important movies that further the form of cinema as an art so much as hitting repetitive and predictable Oscar movie attributes.
Lindsay's more recent work sought to deconstruct the narrative, characters and iconography of popular films like The Hobbit and Bright. These deeper analyses of modern films would prove to be very successful, sometimes breaking over 1 million views each on YouTube. In 2017, Ellis was arrested for being drunk in public.
Or maybe they got drunk in public and had a run-in with the police. It happens.
Out of the ex-producers from Channel Awesome, it can certainly be said that Lindsay is one of the most successful, and her move towards more serious and in some case academic-style deconstructions of film and media, as opposed to her old nostalgia chick style, has really paid off. Although I'm probably not the target demographic for these editorials, I can say that watching some of her more recent work has highlighted some aspects of the film industry that I probably would not have seen otherwise.
Personally, I stayed 1.5 miles away from the nostalgia chick and Lindsay Ellis. I found the entire concept of her writing about her own abortion to be sick. Maybe in the hands of a more competent director, it could have been actually meaningful, but in the hands of a film student with the only intent to be a spin on a bad situation into maybe something edgy, I don't know, it just leaves a really bad impression. Her essays are well detailed, but from her most recent videos, I couldn't help shake the feeling of condescension. She doesn't handhold you through the narrative like a lot of other creators like Spoonie or Doug Walker or Linkara. Definitely Linkara. But instead she focuses more on specific aspects of things, which is great. But if you ever tried, like honestly sat down and tried to watch one of her videos, it's just a lot of white noise. There's no enunciation, just rapid fire talking, but in relative monotone.
Wow. I hate it.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. This is just part of a multi-part collaboration. If you liked the video, please feel free to subscribe to myself, Extra Mana, and to NobleAbsinthe, and be sure to tick that chime next to it to stay updated for future releases. Likes and shares are always appreciated, and if you want to support the show, please also consider checking out my Patreon page at patreon.com/extramana. With that being said, you can now join us on NobleAbsinthe's channel, where we continue looking at producers of Channel Awesome, and this time we'll be talking about Angry Joe.
You fucked it up!